The movie begins with a series of news clips, scientific discussions, and government briefings about unidentified flying objects and alien encounters. The montage highlights how UFO sightings have been reported for decades, with government officials either denying or covering up the truth. Scientists and conspiracy theorists debate the existence of extraterrestrials, suggesting that aliens may have already visited Earth. The scene shifts to Las Vegas, where the bustling city is alive with activity. We then see a taxi weaving through traffic, and inside is Jack Bruno, a tough but weary cab driver. Jack is an ex-convict trying to turn his life around by working an honest job, though it is clear that he struggles to leave his past behind. His passengers are rowdy and unpredictable, from drunken tourists to excited attendees of the upcoming UFO convention. One of the convention goers, Dr. Alex, enthusiastically talks about aliens and government conspiracies, handing Jack a flyer about an upcoming lecture on extraterrestrial encounters. Jack, clearly uninterested, tosses the flyer aside. The next day, Jack is confronted by two men in suits. They are former associates from his criminal past who attempt to pressure him into returning to a life of crime. Jack firmly refuses, making it clear that he has no interest in going back down that road. Despite his firm stance, the men warn him that people like him do not just walk away from their past. As they walk off, Jack grips the steering wheel tightly, frustrated that his past continues to follow him. As he turns onto an empty road, something strange happens. Two teenagers, a boy and a girl, suddenly appear in the back seat of his taxi as if they materialized out of thin air. The two teenagers, a blonde girl named Sarah and a serious-looking boy named Seth, sit perfectly still, their expressions calm and composed. They inform Jack that they need to go to a remote location outside the city and insist that it is urgent. Before Jack can ask any further questions, they place a large stack of cash on the front seat, more than enough to convince him to take them wherever they need to go. As Jack drives, he keeps an eye on them through the mirror, noticing that their behavior is oddly formal and highly intelligent. They do not speak much, but when they do, their responses are precise and logical. Unbeknownst to Jack, a team of government agents led by Henry Burke has already identified the teenagers' location and begun tracking them. Burke is a high-ranking operative working for a secret agency specializing in extraterrestrial activity. He is methodical and relentless, willing to use any means necessary to capture the two kids. His team monitors their movements through advanced surveillance technology, quickly narrowing down Jack's taxi as their target. Burke issues an order for a team to intercept them before they can reach their destination. Meanwhile, Jack grows more suspicious of his passengers when he notices a black SUV tailing them. He slows down, but the SUVs also slow their speed. Without warning, the black SUV speeds up and attempts to force his taxi off the road. Jack, relying on his past experience with high-speed chases, skillfully maneuvers through traffic, narrowly avoiding collisions as he tries to lose their pursuers. The kids remain calm despite the chaos, which only makes Jack more unnerved. After a tense pursuit, Jack manages to outdrive the agents, forcing the black SUV to crash. As night falls, they arrive at a remote cabin deep in the desert. Seth and Sarah insist that they need to retrieve something hidden inside. Jack follows them, still uncertain about what he has gotten himself into. As they enter the cabin, the kids begin searching through the old, dusty furniture until they uncover a small, strange-looking device. The device allows the kids to enter a secret space where they end up in a cave-looking place. There, they find the device they were looking for in the beginning. As they celebrate, they hear something coming their way and quickly hide in the bushes, but the thing that's chasing them begins stalking them, forcing them to split up and hide. In his hiding place, Jack sees the creature that's chasing them and realizes that it's not human or from this world. The creature begins burning the cave down, and Jack and the kids fortunately make it out, but Seth is left unconscious and Jack picks him out of the house, and drives away. Jack, now completely baffled, stares in shock and demands an explanation to what they are. Before the kids can answer, bright headlights shine through the windows. The alien has found them, and shoots at them. Jack is forced to drive off the road and try to maneuver the shots of the alien. As he continues driving through the dark desert roads, he finally pulls into a dimly lit tunnel, parking the car in a secluded spot. With the adrenaline of the chase still pumping through him, Jack turns in his seat, demanding answers from the two mysterious kids he has been protecting. Sarah and Seth exchange a brief glance before Sarah speaks. She tells Jack that the creature chasing them is called a Seraphine, an alien assassin sent specifically to eliminate them. Jack is stunned. He had suspected something was off, but an intergalactic bounty hunter was beyond anything he could have imagined. After getting the answers he wanted, Jack takes a deep breath, starts the car, and slowly drives out of the tunnel. However, just as he pulls off, a massive blast shakes the vehicle, nearly sending them off course. The Seraphine has caught up to them, and it fires energy blasts at their taxi, illuminating the dark tunnel with flashes of blue and red. Jack's instincts kick in, and he slams on the gas, weaving through the tight space as the Seraphine's sleek, dark flying craft hovers dangerously close behind them, firing relentlessly. Just then, the blaring horn of a train echoes through the tunnel. Jack's eyes widen as he spots the massive freight train speeding directly toward them from the opposite end. He has seconds to react. With precise timing, he grips the wheel and swerves, barely avoiding the train's powerful force. The Seraphine is not so lucky. The train collides head-on with the assassin's flying saucer, creating a deafening explosion of metal and energy. After several more miles of driving, Jack's taxi suddenly sputters and comes to a stop. Smoke rises from under the hood, and Jack, already exhausted and overwhelmed, slams his hands on the wheel in frustration. Sarah steps forward and tells Jack that she and Seth are not from Earth. Jack laughs in disbelief, shaking his head. He refuses to believe that two ordinary-looking kids are aliens. It seems impossible. To prove their claim, Seth and Sarah decide to demonstrate their abilities. Sarah concentrates, and Jack watches in shock as his CDs, notebooks, and belongings from the front seat suddenly begin floating in mid-air. They hover gently before settling back down. Jack's mouth drops open, and he takes a step back, finally realizing the truth: these kids are not human. Elsewhere, Detective Henry and his agents are investigating Jack's past. They pull up his file and discuss his previous involvement with a criminal gang, noting that he managed to turn his life around and now works as a cab driver. While his record is clean, they see that his taxi was last spotted in a high-speed chase with unidentified hostiles. Meanwhile, Jack, Sarah, and Seth eventually reach a small, quiet town, where they stop at a local mechanic's shop. Jack convinces the mechanic to fix his car, promising a generous payment once the job is done. While the mechanic works on the taxi, the group decides to grab food at a nearby diner. Inside, they sit at a table and order some food, trying to remain inconspicuous. The diner is relatively full, with most of the customers being locals. Jack finally has a moment to breathe, but his phone rings. It's Detective Henry. Henry tells Jack that he knows about the children and demands that he turn them over immediately. Jack glances out the diner window and sees black SUVs pulling up outside. His pulse quickens as several agents exit their vehicles, preparing to enter the diner. Thinking fast, Jack quickly instructs Sarah and Seth to hide. A waitress working at the diner notices Jack's distress and, surprisingly, decides to help them. She discreetly leads them through the back before the agents can get inside. As Henry and his men enter, they scan the room, but Jack and the kids are already sneaking through the kitchen and slipping out the back exit. They rush toward the taxi, and just as Jack fires up the engine, Sarah uses her powers to disable all of the agents' vehicles, ensuring they won't be pursued. Jack speeds off, escaping yet another close call. As they drive, Seth tells Jack that they must retrieve their spaceship, which is being held at the government's headquarters. Jack, still trying to process everything, argues that they have no idea where the headquarters are or how to even get inside. However, he suddenly remembers someone who might be able to help. He recalls Dr. Alex Friedman, the astrophysicist he met earlier at the UFO convention. She is one of the few people who might understand what is happening and know more about space technology. The night fades, and as the sun rises, they finally reach the UFO convention once again. The event has died down, and attendees are packing up. They spot Alex, who is packing away her research after giving her lecture. Jack approaches her, insisting that they need to speak in private. Once alone, Jack tells Alex the truth about the kids, revealing everything he has seen. Alex, though skeptical at first, starts to believe when Sarah levitates her laptop mid-air, showing undeniable proof of their abilities. Seth then places down a small device, which projects a detailed, three-dimensional hologram of the galaxy. Sarah points to a distant planet, explaining that it is their home. She reveals that their world is dying, and their parents sent them to Earth to retrieve a substance that could restore life to their planet. However, if they fail to return in time, their species will be forced to relocate to Earth. Alex, stunned by this revelation, realizes the gravity of the situation. She finally understands that her years of research were correct, aliens are real, and they need her help. She agrees to join their mission, knowing that they must locate the spaceship before it's too late. Jack and the group locate the secret government base, hidden deep within a mountainous region. It is heavily fortified, with military personnel guarding all entrances. They know that a direct assault is impossible, so they must use deception to get inside. Using a stolen government keycard, Jack and Alex manage to sneak inside, disguising themselves as scientists. As they make their way deeper into the facility, they discover the UFO, heavily guarded and surrounded by scientists studying its advanced technology. Meanwhile, the Seraphine assassin storms the facility, and most of the agents rush to stop it. Elsewhere, the kids open the UFO, and as they are about to enter, Henry and his men surround them and warn them not to get in the spaceship. Suddenly, the agents shoot at them, and Seth uses his powers to block the bullets midway from harming them. The group quickly gets in the ship, but the Seraphine arrives and shoots at the agents. While inside, the kids activate the UFO and fly out of the military base. Just as they celebrate, they hear something trying to break in from the outside, and Jack decides to check it out. As he gets to the other side of the ship, he's overwhelmed by the Seraphine. He tries defending himself, but the Seraphine is too strong and tosses him around. Seth appears and helps Jack. Together they manage to destroy the Seraphine once and for all. Later, the kids thank Jack and hands him a device that will help them track them whenever they want to visit them again. With no time left, the spaceship roars to life and lifts off. Jack and Alex watch as the UFO shoots into the sky, heading back to the children's home planet. Before disappearing, Sarah and Seth mentally communicate with Jack, thanking him again for his help and promising that they will never forget him. Make sure to like and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.